guys. Let's talk a little bit about where we are in the situation right now. Let's first of all talk about the president's speech tonight. Now, we're believing that, from what I understand, the president himself may make reference in his speech tonight to the liberation of Mosul. That it could be a nice key point for us to kind of keep our ears open for. Okay, the liberation of Mosul, because it has been liberated. We've talked about that. They've had major success in that, and Iraq is just rocking and rolling forward right now. They have, and I'll just go back to the speech for just a second. And I also believe, in addition to some other things that we're looking for, like some description maybe of a tax plan, some description of the repeal and replace of Obamacare, that type of thing we're looking for. But there's also, I believe, a couple of surprises in his speech tonight, and I don't even know what those are. So we just have to see if anything comes up that we would consider a surprise, because that's really cool. So let's cut forward to Iraq. What's happened in Iraq is that they do have a new rate. They do have it on their key cards, or their so-called debit cards. They did start paying, they started yesterday, and were paying not only the pensioners their back pay at the new rate. They did that, but they started paying a lot of other people and situations in Iraq at the new rate. I don't have the number for the new rate, but I believe it was upwards of the 425 rate we used to have, and it may be somewhere close to $5 in that range, which is great, and that would be a great so-called in-country or international rate for the Iraqi dinar. So I don't have that actual, but I know that they have been paid, and I know that started yesterday, and they paid a lot more than just the pensioners. Now, here's another thing that happened Sunday in Iraq. This is very significant. Iraq began to offer, I think this was Saturday, they offered Iraqi sovereign international bonds. In other words, brand new Iraqi bonds, sovereign bonds, were offered for sale. Now, this was a $1 trillion bond offering. $1 trillion bond offering. And I know that in some situations, people were buying bonds in excess of $350 or so million worth several times in that first day of Saturday. I mean, I know, for example, this offering was to go out to, I believe, 23 different countries. And I know that at least five or six countries took advantage of it that day. I know France was into it for like $1 billion. I don't know what the number was for Germany. I don't know what the number was for the UK. I believe Russia was in on it as well. And I think obviously some people here in the United States took advantage of it too. Don't know what other countries it was offered to exactly, but that is a cool offering. Now, let's say what's significant about that. First of all, notice it was a sovereign bond offering. That means Iran has their sovereignty back. They are sovereign. They are good to go. And this was something that was offered internationally. That means that they have an international or internationally known rate available for their Iraqi dinar, and it's priced into the bond offering. So that is big news, and that is the most significant news that we had to prove that Iraq was back and doing business internationally. That's huge, guys. We can be very happy for Iraq in that. And then also, we have heard that the testing that was done yesterday on the Iraqi Stock Exchange which we know as the ISX. They had 12 hours of testing done yesterday, and it went off without a hitch. No problems. Everything's smooth sailing. Okay? So we understand, as a result of the positive testing, that Iraq is to open their Iraqi Stock Exchange, the ISX, tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Baghdad time. Well, that's 1 a.m. Eastern time. I'm calling it tonight, but of course it's 1 a.m. And then it's midnight tonight Central time where I am. So that's pretty close to where we are. Now, we understand that that could be significant as far as the timing of what it is we're looking for. I can't tell you anything too definitive about timing, but I think that's a very positive thing that's going to take place. Let's call it at 1 a.m. Eastern tonight with the opening of the ISX. Now, what else can we say about Iraq? We know about the liberation of Mosul. We know that the Reconciliation Act, we understand that was to be put forward or passed Sunday or Monday, I believe. And that is a way to have Iraq come together as a country instead of being divided into three regions, which was sort of the design of some people in the past, but understand that is not going to happen, that Iraq will be under one government, which it should be in Baghdad, and this would unite Iraq, and it would be a very positive thing moving forward as far as the reconciliation. This was something that was going to be, and it could be mentioned tonight in the president's speech, but this was something that had to be signed off on by the IMF, by the United Nations, by the U.S. government, and I don't know if there was anybody else for that or not. I don't remember if there were 3 or 4 entities that needed to sign off on that, but we understand that has been handled. That is something that doesn't totally affect us either way on the timing for the RV, but it is a good thing to know. The other thing that happened, I believe this occurred on Sunday, and that was the let's see, what do they call that law? The amnesty law. The amnesty law went through. And we've talked about the amnesty law forever, years ago. And evidently it has finally passed as well, and that's a good thing. So, Iraq's in pretty good shape right now moving forward. I believe they have the rate, and we also are looking for the rate change to occur on the CBI website, Central Bank of Iraq website here pretty soon. Now, I don't think they'll put that rate on until this whole thing is totally ready to pop worldwide as a GCR. Okay, but we could look for that pretty quickly here, I would think. That CBI site rate, okay? So that's pretty much Iraq right now. Let's see, let's move on to what else has been happening, which we want to welcome anybody that might be listening in from the redemption centers of HSBC and Wells Fargo. They're kind of jointly operating the 6,800 or so redemption centers in North America.
BS.
And so we sometimes have folks listening in from the redemption centers. Tonight might be no exception, but we understand that they are on active status now, and we understand that they're to go on engaged status tonight at, I don't know, let's see, when was this? This was going to happen somewhere in the 10:30 Central Time, 11:30 Eastern Time range.
Lie.
Don't hold me to that, but that's what I understood that might be the time that we are looking for in terms of the new status to engaged. And our understanding, for those that might not remember, is that when they are on engaged status, that's essentially go time. We should be underway for that to happen. So we'll see if that occurs at that time, and we should be in good shape. Okay? The other thing is, a couple hours after the redemption centers go to engage status, our understanding is that all of the Zim platforms will pay out tonight. And that would be what? 12:30 Central Time, 1:30 in the morning Eastern Time. Should be when those Zim platforms pay out. So there's a lot going on. I have heard, I can't confirm this, but I've heard that prosperity packages have started to go out. I've also heard that they will go out tonight a little later. So I don't know which it is, but I know that they may already have started. So guys, what I'm trying to say is things are moving along very nicely, and I would say that we're in the best shape that we've ever been in for this to come through for us, based on all the information that we've heard so far. We know that everything's pretty much, in high preparation mode out west, and that everybody is in position to get started. We know that the groups are about to be completely hydrated and made liquid. Those that were prepaid, the same thing. A lot of that was to have taken place yesterday, and it looks like it carried over to today. A lot of people that have accounts that have a hold on them should have that hold released here pretty shortly, based on these platforms paying out. A lot of people that are waiting for funds to come in for humanitarian funding sources, for example, are about to receive those as well. So we are right in position for what I would call a shotgun start. We're right there, looking forward to that. Let's see, we're hearing some good things about rates. I don't have any rates to give you tonight, but I would say I'm hearing that the Zim it has been moving up a little bit. The non-NDA screen rate, if you will, for the Zim is in really good shape. And then of course you have the ability to negotiate the Zim for a much higher rate should you decide to do that with your humanitarian projects. And that's up to you, that's at your discretion. You guys remember that we have a project for the big call that we plan to do that is called Rebuild America. And that is to start in the United States with adopt a city, adopt a town, adopt a community. Based on the size that you want to work with, we can work with anything in that realm right there. Beginning with, I'm looking for 5,000 listeners from the big call to give us 100 cities in each of our 50 states to rebuild. And this can mean infrastructure, it can go as far as roads, it can go to highways, it can go to bridges, overpasses, it can go to a number of areas of infrastructure, even railways. We've even talked about being able to have enough maybe to fund a maglev railway between cities, as are some of the plans that are already out there. There's already plans to do a maglev from New York to Washington, I believe, and from LA to San Francisco, if I'm not mistaken. It'd be easy to do a maglev from LA to Las Vegas too, and maybe there's plans in the works for that, I don't know. But that would be a junket, wouldn't it? Guys, there's opportunities, I think, for that. That's why I'm saying don't sell yourself short in terms of asking for a high rate for the Zim, because you could use that money for a lot of projects. I'm not going to ask for money from any of you. I'm only going to say that what we want to do is try to partner throughout the United States in these various cities and towns across the country, and I need your help to pick a city or a town or a community that you want to help, and then we'll have similar concepts that we'll all draw from. In other words, we'll have a blueprint of some ideas that we're going to do in, let's say, Main Street USA that we would like to do. Maybe we like that concept, but we want to do it in Des Moines, Iowa. We might want to do it in St. Louis. You might want to do it in Chicago. You might want to do it down in Miami. You might want to do it in Dallas-Fort Worth or, in Memphis. We got to get something going there. We want to work in coal country. We want to get Kentucky up to speed, West Virginia going again, Pennsylvania rolling. Help me out. Southwestern Virginia, Tennessee, parts of Ohio. Anything that's got coal country in, we want to make sure those people have good quality housing, education, and their jobs back, which the president's talked about working on that, and that'll be great. So there's people, guys, in that area of the country that are kind of too proud to ask for help, but we're going to volunteer and try to give them the help that they need. Okay, we'll try to help them out on food, housing, medical. Anything you can imagine, clinics, that's where they really need. They need a lot of help with medical issues. I've seen show after show about that in that area of the country. And it's true in other parts of the country too. Mississippi, parts of Alabama, there's parts of Louisiana. There's a lot of areas, guys, that we can help in. A lot of areas. And I'm not even scratching the surface. So, please, don't be bashful about asking for a privately negotiable rate on the Zim. Get way above that non-NDA thing if you can, if you want to be part of what we're doing. Certainly, I'm going to ask for a very good rate, and I've got a lot of projects that I want to do. Now, guys, that doesn't even include the Veterans Retreat Network we're going to do. We're going to do a pastoral retreat network. Of course, we're going to give into certain ministries as well, like the Jerusalem Prayer Team, like the Voice of China and Asia, VOCA. We've got those two ministries picked out, but there'll be other things that we'll be working with. And then, of course, there's the idea of getting our farming, our aquaculture around, everything that we want to do from a farming perspective and from the concept of what are we going to call it here? Well, just having having the resources that we need, having the food that we need, being able to grow what we need to grow. Of course, the aquaponics and everything that goes along with that, but there's more to it than that. We're going to have quite a bit of information and technology that we're going to be putting forward and talking about more of in the future. So that's just kind of a rundown. I wanted to give that to you again, just so that you know. I think we're in good shape, guys. We may or may not have a call Thursday. Obviously, if we get this beforehand, we'll do a pre-recorded call and put it out there. Otherwise, we'll have a call on Thursday night, just like we normally would. But you should check to verify whether we're going to have a call or not, or whether we have a celebration call pre-recorded link that you can click on. Go to thebigcall.net, thebigcall.net, and then you'd be able to see it on the landing page. If we have a pre-recorded celebration call, it'll be there on the front page. All right?